Hello everyone. This is just a quick video with some pointers to look out for when you're working through exercise 1 for this week. Again, you'll be going over chapter 1 in your textbook and doing the associated exercise activity as you go. So a couple of general pointers first. When working with ArcGIS Online and the ArcGIS Pro, please understand sometimes there are updates. So it is very possible that the exact images in your textbook or even in sometimes my videos might differ a little bit from what you're looking at on the screen. While in some ways this can be frustrating, to be honest, it's actually not a bad thing to practice with because realistically, software is always changing and you want to develop not just a memorized ABC, but more of the ability or skill to move around and improvise a little bit when needed, especially if you're ever working on a job and you're suddenly asked to use a different piece of software, or you're working with someone and they have slightly different requirements. The ability to be able to kind of sift around and find your way out, feel your way out, is very important. So that said, I do highly recommend, if something isn't seeming to work or look exactly like it's pictured, you might want to try clicking around some on different things to try to figure out where you are. And again, as always, when we're working, if we're using something like email or any other asynchronous form of communication, meaning we're not both on at the same time, screenshots and pictures or even short little quick videos really help. All right, so I have, excuse me, an online version here of the textbook. And when you go to chapter 1 with exercise 1, it's going to, and again, you want to go through all of this top part, but I kind of covered that in the overview video. So this particular activity is working more with ArcGIS Online, and it gets very confusing, but the Pro is a more advanced version of what you can do online. So you're going to go through and create your ArcGIS Online account. Hopefully you actually already did this with the last assignment, but if not, the instructions are here. So once you have signed up, you should have your ArcGIS account. One thing when you're going through this is in the Create an ArcGIS Online Trial Account section. This number 7, here we go. This number 7 is very important because if you don't set these things, then I won't be able to see your maps and it makes it much harder to share. All right, so you hopefully opened up ArcGIS and signed in, and here it says that you'll go to your organization's main page. When I popped in, I actually popped into this particular page. You'll see you can click up here for organization and it'll pop you to your organization page if you want. But honestly, right here at your main home page, this is going to work just fine. So as you go through, you'll see it says in the upper right, click the magnifying glass to open the search box and type in this particular phrase. So we do that. And again, this is one of those things, if you're following along and doing things, and you don't read ahead a little bit before doing things, then sometimes things might not make sense, because when you do this the first time, you'll notice that it doesn't find anything. But if you read ahead, it tells you that that's going to happen. and it tells you you have to go under content, turn off your search, and then this will pop up. Okay, so again, as you're following through, sometimes it might even be good to kind of read over the textbook exercises first to get a general idea, and then go back and actually follow along. So here's a map we're going to work with, and you'll see it says click the title. You can see the details page. Again, I'm not going to go over that right now. And it says click open in map viewer. And here it says open in map viewer classic, because again, ArcGIS Online has gone through a couple of upgrades since the textbook was released. And you'll have your map. Now, again, as you read through, and you'll want to read this over in more detail, I'm not doing every single thing for this exercise. I'm just showing you a few things because I want to make sure that you make sure to hit those. Now, you'll notice it kind of puts in this little, if necessary, click the content button. Okay, and that's one thing I wanted to point out. When I opened this, it automatically over here on the left went into the legend section of the map. And it's kind of light blue here on my screen. You'll notice there's something here called content. Okay, now if you look at legend, you can see down here in the layer menu and screen area. And again, earlier in the chapter, it talks about the layers. And if you look at their example, you'll see over here on the left, it looks very different. Now, this up here does not have the wording, but you can kind of see how this area is in light blue and this says content. So make sure you click that over to content. Okay. And so again, I just wanted to point that out because as you're going through this assignment, again, you want to read things over carefully and kind of really look, sometimes not at the exact picture per se, but kind of get a feel. So now you're in the content area. It tells you to click the base map button to show the base map gallery. So you'll come in here and click the base map and go to streets. And then it tells you to make your screen here, your map screen, look similar to theirs using the zoom and so on. And again, the book goes over that a little bit in earlier, but also you'll see over here, you have plus and minus, which is one way to zoom, to drag in most mapping and GIS programs. You hold down the left mouse button and kind of pull back and forth. Also, if you have a mouse that has a button, a wheel in the middle, you can often use the wheel as your zoom in and out as well. So I'm going to keep zooming out here, and I see I want this Wilmington and this West Street and the rivers right here. And I kind of moved it around. There we go. So kind of play with it a little bit till it's looking approximately the same. And then again, they'll go down. They'll talk about playing with layers again over here. And when you point to it, you'll see other things pop up. See, I'm pointing to it now, how it's light blue and these other things pop up. There's three little button or dots over here, and you'll see my mouse. Watch your mouse. In GIS systems, oftentimes the mouse will change to indicate some different functionality. So I'm just going to click and drag because it tells you to put it on top. And layers, think of, again, from the other video, layers are like in a sandwich. So whatever is on top is what you're kind of looking. That's why you put the bread on top. That's kind of been what you're looking at. And it tells you to turn off all the other layers. And remember, with layers, you can just uncheck or check boxes. Okay. And again, it's going to now talk about the map symbology. So you're going to start to work on the legend, and it gives you ways to change the style button again. So you can go through this and you can change that. And again, you'll see here, you have the show legend button below the layer name, which is right down in here. And again, if you point to each of these buttons, oftentimes the little thing will pop up, right? So you can kind of play around with that as well. And you can always click anytime you see 3 buttons up and down or 3 buttons one after the other, you can always pop those things up and play with those things as well. But it goes through and it tells you how you can change the symbols. Again, here now it's changed, and it's going to continue to tell you to do and change different things. Okay, so that just gives you a little bit of a look at the beginning of this. And I'll have another video to kind of take us a little bit further through the exercise.